The photograph fell from her mother's purse when Emma reached for chapstick, just a worn Polaroid, edges soft from years of handling. But what made 15-year-old Emma's world tilt sideways wasn't the faded colors or the crease down the middle. It was a man in the photo, leather vest, sunglasses pushed up on his head, arm around her mother's waist, and tattooed across his knuckles in letters Emma had memorized from her bedroom mirror, letters she'd inherited without understanding why. ROAD and BORN. Her dead father had the same tattoos. No, her supposedly dead father. Because the man in this photo wasn't a memory. He was standing in her school parking lot right now, leaning against a Harley-Davidson fat boy, talking to her mother like they'd done this before, like this was routine. Emma watched the cafeteria window as her mother, Jennifer Hayes, widow for 15 years, struggling single mom who worked 2 jobs and never complained, stepped close to this stranger, close enough that his hand came up to her face, close enough that when he pulled her into his arms, her mother melted against his chest like she'd been holding herself together all day just to fall apart right there. Emma's lunch tray hit the floor with a crash that made the entire cafeteria turn and stare. But she was already moving, already running, already pushing to the double doors with her heart hammering so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. Mom! They broke apart like teenagers caught making out. Her mother's face went from soft and peaceful to terrified in the space of a heartbeat. The man, this ghost, this lie, this stranger wearing her dead father's tattoos, went completely still. And Emma knew, God help her, she knew. Emma, sweetie, her mother started, her voice shaking. Don't. Emma's voice came out strangled. She looked at the man, really looked at him. Dark hair shot through with gray. Lines around his eyes that came from squinting into the sun on long rides. A scar along his jaw that matched the one in her baby photos. You're supposed to be dead. The man removed his sunglasses slowly. His eyes, Jesus. His eyes were the same shade of hazel green as hers. The same eyes that stare back at her from the mirror every morning when she wondered why she looked nothing like her blonde, blue-eyed mother. Emma, he said, and his voice cracked on her name like it hurt to say it. You're supposed to be dead. She was screaming now, and students were gathering, and her mother was crying, but Emma couldn't stop. There's a gravestone. I go there every year on your birthday. I bring flowers to an empty grave and cry over a man who isn't even. He is dead, her mother said desperately. The man I married, the man who lived in our house, he's dead. He had to die so you could be safe. Safe from what? Emma's laugh was harsh, broken. Safe from having a father? Safe from not being lied to my entire life. The man, her father, because that's what he was, no matter how much he wanted to deny it, took a step forward. Emma took a step back. Don't, she whispered. Don't come near me. Emma, please. His voice was rough, whether by years of shouting over motorcycle engines and giving orders to men who followed him into hell. Let me explain. Explain what? That you've been alive this whole time? That you watched me grow up from a distance while Mom worked herself to death because she thought she was alone? That you let me believe. Her voice broke completely. You let me believe you were dead. I had to. And now, he was the one who sounded broken. Baby girl, I had to. Don't call me that. Tears were streaming down Emma's face. You don't get to call me that. Dead fathers don't get pet names. She turned and ran before either of them could stop her, before the gathering crowd could see her completely fall apart, before she had to look at her mother's devastated face or her father's guilty one for one more second. She ran until her lungs burned and her legs gave out, until she was sitting on the curb 3 blocks from school with her head between her knees, trying to remember how to breathe. Her phone buzzed. Mom calling. She declined it. It buzzed again. Mom texting. Please come home. Please let us explain. Emma stared at the message, then typed back with shaking fingers. You had 15 years to explain. You chose lies. She sat there for 20 minutes before another text came through. Unknown number. My name is Marcus Kane. Road name is Ghost. I've been watching you grow up from a distance since you were 3 days old. Your mother didn't lie to you alone. We lied together because keeping you alive mattered more than keeping you happy. Please come home. Please let me tell you why your death certificate saved your life. Emma read it 3 times. Then she stood up and started walking home. Not because she forgave them, not because she understood, but because apparently her father was alive and she'd wasted 15 years of grief on a lie. And someone was going to explain why. And God helped them if the explanation wasn't good enough. Jennifer Hayes sat at her kitchen table with her head in her hands, listening to Marcus pace the living room like a caged animal. 15 years of secrets. 15 years of careful distance. 15 years of pretending to be someone she wasn't. All of it shattered in 30 seconds. She hates me, Jennifer whispered. She doesn't hate you. Marcus stopped pacing, but he didn't come into the kitchen. They'd learned years ago to maintain distance in the house, to never touch where Emma might see, to keep up the fiction that Jennifer was a devoted widow raising her daughter alone. She's confused. She's hurt, but she doesn't hate you. I lied to her for 15 years, Marcus. I let her mourn you. Every Father's Day, every birthday, every school event where other kids brought their dads. I watched her try not to cry, and I said nothing. You said nothing because saying something would have gotten her killed. Jennifer looked up at him through the doorway. Marcus Kane at 48 looked harder than he had at 33. When she'd met him at a friend's wedding and fallen stupidly in love with a man who wore leather and lived by a code she didn't understand. The years had carved lines into his face, added gray to his beard. But his eyes, those fierce, protective eyes, hadn't changed at all. Maybe we should have told her when she turned 13, Jennifer said. Or last year when she started asking questions about why she looked nothing like me. And said what? Surprise, honey. Your dad's alive, but he can't acknowledge you exist because the Scorpions MC has enemies who would use you to destroy him? Marcus's voice was rough with frustration. She's safe for not knowing. She's always been safe for not knowing. She knows now. Yeah. He ran his hands through his hair. She knows now. The front door opened. They both froze. Emma stood in the doorway, her backpack still on, her face blotchy from crying. She looked at her mother, then at Marcus, then back to her mother. I want the truth, she said. All of it. No more lies. No more protecting me from information I deserve to have. You owe me that much. Jennifer started to speak, but Marcus held up a hand. Sit down, he said quietly. This is going to take a while. Emma sat on the couch, as far from both of them as possible. Marcus took the armchair. Jennifer remained at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a coffee mug she wasn't drinking from. I met your mother 16 years ago, Marcus began. I was vice president of the Iron Brotherhood MC. She was a nurse working trauma at County General. We had an arrangement. When members got hurt in situations we couldn't take to hospitals officially, she'd patch them up, no questions asked. Emma's eyes went to her mother. You help criminals? I help people who were bleeding. Jennifer said quietly. I didn't ask how they got hurt. I just stopped them from dying. That's how we met, Marcus continued. I brought my sergeant-at-arms to her apartment one night. He'd been shot during a dispute with a rival club. Your mother saved his life. Didn't report it. Didn't ask for payment. Just helped. He paused, his jaw working. I fell in love with her that night. Watched her work with these steady hands and this calm voice. Watched her save my brother without hesitation. And I knew I was done for. Very romantic, Emma said bitterly. Criminal falls to the woman, helping him cover up violence. It wasn't like that, Jennifer said. Marcus wasn't. The Brotherhood wasn't like other clubs. They had rules. No drugs. No human trafficking. No harming innocents. They were complicated. Complicated enough that you married him? I married him because I loved him, Jennifer said simply. Because he was good to me. Because when I got pregnant with you, he promised he'd protect us both no matter what it cost him. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. When you were born, I was the happiest man alive. Held you in a hospital. Counted your fingers and toes. Promised you I'd never let anything hurt you. I meant it. I meant every word. So what happened? Emma's voice was cold. If you meant it, why did you leave? I didn't leave. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes intense. I died. Clearly not. 3 days after you were born, Marcus said, a rival MC, the Scorpions, found out about you. Found out the VP of Iron Brotherhood had a wife and baby. Found out exactly where we lived, where Jennifer worked, what hospital you were born in. Emma's stomach dropped. They sent a message, Marcus continued. His voice flat. Said they'd take you, use you, hurt you until I gave them what they wanted. Our territory, our businesses, everything. Said if I refused, they'd make sure you and your mother disappeared, and I'd never find the bodies. The room went silent. Jennifer was crying quietly into her coffee mug. So you faked your death, Emma whispered. I faked my death, Marcus confirmed. Made it look like a motorcycle accident. Closed casket. Full funeral. Your mother played the grieving widow. The Brotherhood backed the story. Official death certificate, burial plot, everything. And the Scorpions believed it. They believed I was dead. His voice got harder. And more importantly, they believed you and your mother were no longer valuable. Widow and fatherless kid aren't leverage. They moved on to other targets. Emma tried to process this. But you didn't actually leave. No. Marcus's smile was bitter. I couldn't. Brotherhood's in my blood, and more than that, the club needed leadership. The president had been killed 6 months before you were born. Civil war was brewing. If I'd actually left, everything would have collapsed. Good men would have died. Families would have been destroyed. So you chose them, Emma said. You chose your motorcycle club over us. I chose to keep you alive. Marcus's control cracked. I chose to become president of Iron Brotherhood, so I could control who knew about you, who came near you, who even thought about you. I chose to watch you from a distance rather than put a target on your back. I chose to let you hate a dead man instead of burying you for real. Emma flinched. Every school play, Marcus said, his voice breaking. Every parent-teacher conference, every birthday party. I was there. Not close enough for you to see me, but there. Your mother would film everything, send me videos. I have 15 years of your life in encrypted files on my phone. 15 years of watching you grow up through a screen, because being in the same room would get you killed. The Scorpions, Emma started, aren't the only threat, Jennifer interrupted gently. The Iron Brotherhood has enemies, rival clubs, criminal organizations, law enforcement watching for any weakness. If anyone knew Marcus had a daughter, you'd become a weapon used against him. So you let me believe I was fatherless, let me feel abandoned. Better abandoned than dead, Marcus said harshly. Better sad than sorry. Better alive and angry at me than targeted by men who do things to you I won't even say out loud. Emma sat back, her mind reeling. This is insane. Yes, Jennifer agreed. It's insane. It's been insane for 15 years. But it kept you safe. And today, Emma demanded, what happened keeping me safe? You were hugging in the school parking lot where anyone could see. That was my fault. Marcus said immediately, your mother's been under incredible stress. Her car broke down. She called me. I came to help. She broke down. I wasn't thinking. I should have been more careful. He's always careful, Jennifer added. We have rules. Never touch in public. Never meet at the house. Never give anyone reason to connect us. Today was a mistake. Emma looked between them. Her mother, exhausted and scared, and this stranger who was supposed to be her father, who looked at her with such desperate love it physically hurt. I don't know how to do this, she whispered. I don't know how to have a father who's been dead my whole life. You don't have to know, Marcus said gently. Not yet. Not until you're ready. What if I'm never ready? Pain flashed across his face. Then I'll keep watching from a distance. Keep making sure you're safe. Keep loving you even if you never love me back. That's not fair, Emma said, tears streaming again. You don't get to make me feel guilty for being angry. I don't want you to feel guilty. Marcus stood up slowly. I want you to understand that every choice I made for you. I gave up holding you, so you'd be alive to hate me for it. I gave up being your father, so you'd have a life. That's not guilt, that's just truth. He walked to the door, and Emma's heart lurched. Where are you going? Giving you space. He looked back at her. When you're ready to talk more, your mother knows how to reach me. But Emma, his voice caught, I need you to know something. Being your father, even from a distance, even in secret, has been the greatest honor of my life. You're brave and smart and kind, and that's all your mother's doing because I wasn't there to screw it up, but I'm so damn proud of you it hurts. He left before Emma could respond. The door closed with a soft click that felt deafening. Jennifer moved to the couch, sitting beside Emma, but not touching. I know you have questions. 1,000,000 questions, Emma whispered, starting with, is he really the president of a motorcycle club? Yes. He became president when you were 6 months old. He's kept the Brotherhood legitimate. No drugs, no trafficking, mostly security and protection services now. He spent 15 years keeping both worlds running. The club and us. Does he have another family? A club family? The Brotherhood is his family, but no wife, no other children. He said claiming you cost him any chance at having more kids because he'd never risk another child the way he had to risk you. Emma processed this. He visits? Secretly. Sometimes. Late at night when you're asleep. He stands in your doorway and watches you breathe. He leaves before dawn. Jennifer's smile was sad. He knows your room by heart. Knows every poster, every book. He's read your diary. Yes, I know you have one hidden under your mattress, and he cried when you wrote about missing him. That's creepy. That's a father who can't be a father trying to know his daughter any way he can. They sat in silence for a while. Then Emma asked a question that had been burning since the parking lot. Do you still love him? Jennifer took a long time answering. I've loved him every day for 16 years. I've loved him through grief I had to fake, through loneliness that was real, through watching him from a distance at your events, pretending not to know him while my heart was breaking. So yes, God help me, yes. Have you been seeing him? This whole time. Carefully, secretly, never at the house until today. We meet sometimes just to talk, just to share what's happened with you. He knows your favorite foods. Your current crush, don't look shocked. He figured out you like Mason from your English class. Your fear of not getting into a good college. Every worry, every joy, every ordinary moment. I tell him all of it because he can't be there to see it himself. Emma wiped her eyes. This is the most complicated thing I've ever heard. Welcome to our life. What happens now? Jennifer took Emma's hand. That's up to you, sweetie. Marcus won't push. He'll stay dead if that's what you need. He'll stay away if that's safer. Or maybe, carefully, slowly, you could get to know the father who's been protecting you from the shadows your whole life. Emma thought about the man with her eyes and her tattoos, who'd held her when she was born and then let her go, who'd watched her grow up through encrypted videos, who'd loved her enough to become a ghost. I need time, she said finally. Take all the time you need. But Mom, Emma looked at her mother. No more lies. Ever. About anything. No more lies, Jennifer promised. And I want to meet him. Properly. Not in secret. I want to know who he is. Jennifer's face transformed with hope. Really? He's my father? Apparently. A criminal biker father who faked his death to protect me, but still. Emma's laugh was shaky. Still my father. And I've spent 15 years wondering what it would be like to have one. Might as well find out if the reality lives up to the fantasy. Jennifer pulled her into a tight hug. He's going to be so happy. And so terrified. Good, Emma said. He should be terrified. I have 15 years of questions, and I'm not going easy on him. I wouldn't expect anything less. That night, Emma lay in bed staring at her ceiling, processing everything. Her phone buzzed with a text from unknown number. Her father's number, she realized. Your mother says you want to meet. I'd like that more than you can imagine. But only if you're sure. Only if you're ready. I've waited 15 years. I can wait longer if you need me to. Ghost. Emma stared at the message. Then slowly, she typed back. Saturday. The park by the lake. 2 p.m. Don't be late. Emma, I've never been late to anything involving you. Even when you couldn't see me. I was always exactly on time. Ghost. Emma found herself smiling despite everything. That's kind of creepy, Dad. She hit send before she could overthink it. The response came immediately. You called me, Dad. I'm going to cry now. See you Saturday. Ghost. Emma turned off her phone and stared at the ceiling, wondering how her life had gone from normal to insane in the space of one afternoon. Wondering how you were supposed to have a relationship with a father who was legally dead. Wondering if loving him meant betraying the memory of the man she thought he was. But mostly wondering what it would be like to finally, after 15 years of absence, have a father who was real and present in hers. Even if that father was the president of a motorcycle club who'd faked his death to keep her safe. Even if loving him meant accepting that sometimes the biggest sacrifices look like abandonment. Even if the truth was more complicated than any lie could ever be. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. Marcus Kane stood in the park at 1:45 p.m., 15 minutes early because his daughter had told him not to be late, and he'd rather die for real than disappoint her. He'd changed clothes 3 times. Settled on jeans and a plain black t-shirt, because showing up in his leather vest with the Iron Brotherhood president patch seemed like a terrible idea for a first official meeting. His hand shook. Combat veteran, motorcycle club president, man who'd stared down rival gangs and federal investigators without flinching, and he was terrified of a 15-year-old girl, his daughter. You're early. Emma's voice came from behind him. Marcus turned. She stood there in jeans and a hoodie, her dark hair pulled back, looking so much like him it hurt. But her expression, cautious, guarded, curious, that was all her own. I'm always early, Marcus said. Habit. Military. Marines. 12 years before I retired and went full-time with the Brotherhood. Emma nodded, filing away information. She sat on a park bench. Marcus took that as invitation and sat at the far end, leaving space between them. So Emma said, You're alive. I'm alive. And you're a motorcycle club president. I am. And you faked your death to protect me from criminals who would have hurt me to get to you. Yes. Emma absorbed this. Okay, I need you to understand something. Anything. I'm angry. I'm confused. I spent 15 years grieving someone who wasn't dead. That's not something I can just get over, because you had good reasons. I know, Marcus said quietly, and I'm not asking you to get over it. I'm just asking for a chance to know you, however that looks, whatever boundaries you need. I have questions, lots of questions. Ask them. I'll answer everything I can. Emma pulled out her phone, opened her notes app. I made a list. Despite everything, Marcus smiled. Of course you did. Your mother makes lists too. Question 1. Are you actually dangerous? Have you hurt people? Marcus's smile faded. Yes, I've hurt people. In the Marines, definitely. With the Brotherhood, I've defended our territory, protected our members, dealt with threats. But I've never hurt an innocent person. Never. That's a line I won't cross. Question 2. Does being club president mean you're a criminal? Legally, the Brotherhood operates legitimate businesses now. Security services. Protection details motorcycle repair. We're clean. But do I know things? Do I have connections? Do I exist in a gray area the law doesn't like? Yes. Emma made notes. Question 3. Why become president? Why not just leave the club entirely? Because the club was falling apart. Good men were going to die. Families were going to lose fathers, brothers, sons. I had the respect and the skill to hold it together. And, he paused, and being president meant controlling information. Meant I could make sure nobody in the Brotherhood talked about you. Could protect you even from my own brothers. Do they know about me now? My inner circle knows. 5 men I trust with my life. They've been helping keep you safe all these years. The rest of the club. No, you're still a secret. Question 4. Why didn't you tell me when I turned 13? Or 10? Or at any point when I was old enough to understand? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because every year you didn't know it was another year you were safe. Every year you believed I was dead was another year our enemies believed it too. And His voice cracked slightly, and I was afraid you'd hate me, afraid you'd reject me, afraid I'd destroy the image of the perfect father you built in your head, and you'd be left with just me, flawed and dangerous and not worth the fantasy. Emma's throat tightened. That's honest. I promise no more lies. Question 5. Do you have a criminal record? Disorderly conduct, twice, both bar fights when I was younger. Possession of an illegal firearm. Charges dropped. That's it. I've been careful. Had to be, to protect the club and you. Question 6. Are people still trying to hurt you? Hurt us. The Scorpions disbanded 8 years ago. Most rivals have reached treaties with us. But yes, there are still threats. Smaller ones. I handle them before they become problems. How do you handle them? You don't want to know the details. Yes, I do. No more secrets, remember? Marcus met her eyes. I make it very clear that coming after me or mine will result in consequences they won't survive. I've built a reputation over 15 years. Most people don't test it. Have you killed anyone? The question hung in the air. Marcus didn't answer immediately. I won't lie to you, he finally said. But I also won't give you information that makes you an accessory or puts you in danger. Some questions need to stay unanswered for your protection. Emma considered this. That's fair, I think. Question 7. Are you and Mom together? Like together? Marcus's expression softened. We love each other. We have for 16 years. But we're not together in any traditional sense. Can't be. Too dangerous. We meet carefully, rarely. She's lived as a widow for 15 years to maintain the fiction. That's awful. It is. But it kept you both alive. Emma looked at her list. I have 83 more questions. Then I guess we're going to need more time together. Yeah. Emma looked at him. Really looked at him. This is weird. You're my dad, but you're also a stranger. I know. And I don't know how to fix it except spending time together and letting you see who I actually am. What if I don't like who you are? Then at least you'll know the truth. Marcus's smile was sad. But Emma, I'm going to try really hard to be someone you can like. Maybe even love. Eventually, even if I don't deserve it. Emma was quiet. Then, Mom says you read my diary. Marcus had the grace to look embarrassed. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was invasive and wrong, and I have no excuse, except I was desperate to know you any way I could. Did you read the entry about Mason? The one where you described his smile and said he makes you nervous? Yes. Emma buried her face in her hands. Oh my God! For what it's worth, I ran a background check on him. He's clean, good family, decent grades, hasn't been in trouble. If you're going to have a crush, you picked a good one. You did not run a background check on my crush. I'm a motorcycle club president and a father. Of course I ran a background check. That's... Emma couldn't decide if she was horrified or touched. Overprotective and invasive? Absolutely. But also thorough, which you'll appreciate someday when you have kids and want to make sure they're safe. Emma shook her head, but she was almost smiling. You're ridiculous. I'm a dad. It's part of the job description. They sat in silence for a while. Not comfortable yet, but not hostile either. Just existing in the same space, feeling each other out. Can I ask you something? Marcus said finally. You've answered 83 of my questions, seems fair. Why did you text me Dad that night? You could have used my name. Could have stayed distant. But you called me Dad. Emma looked at her hands. Because I wanted to call someone that my whole life. And you might be complicated and dangerous and secretly alive, but you're also, she paused, you're also the person who loved me enough to disappear, who protected me from a distance, who showed up at every event even though I couldn't see you. That's more than a lot of kids get from fathers who are actually present. Marcus's eyes were suspiciously bright. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me now. Best news I've had in 15 years. Emma's phone buzzed. Mom checking in. She texted back that she was fine. They were talking. She'd be home for dinner. Mom's worried, Emma said. She's always worried. Comes with the territory. Marcus stood. Want to walk? Sitting's making me nervous. They walked around the lake, keeping careful distance, both aware they were being watched by Marcus's security team positioned around the park. He pointed them out casually, like it was normal to have armed bikers providing perimeter security for a father-daughter conversation. "This is my life now?" Emma asked, "Armed guards and background checks and secrets." "Only if you want to know me," Marcus said honestly. "You can walk away. Go back to believing I'm dead. Live a normal life without complications. I'd understand." "Would you?" "No. It would destroy me. But I'd understand." Emma stopped walking. "I don't want to walk away." Marcus stopped too, hope flickering across his face. "No. I want," she struggled for words. "I want to know you, the real you, not the fantasy dead dad I invented, but the actual complicated, dangerous, motorcycle-riding man who's my father. Even if it's weird, even if it's hard. It will be weird and hard and sometimes scary. I know, but I've spent 15 years with a hole where my father should be. And now you're here, alive, real. I can't just ignore that. Can't just go back to normal, when normal was never real anyway." Marcus looked at her with such naked love and gratitude that Emma had to look away. "Can I hug you?" he asked quietly. "I know we're not there yet, but I wanted to hold my daughter for 15 years, and if you say no, I'll understand, but—" Emma stepped forward and wrapped her arms around his waist. Marcus went completely still for a heartbeat. Then his arms came around her carefully, like she might break. He smelled like leather and motor oil and something clean and pine-like. He was solid and warm and real. And when Emma pressed her ear against his chest, she could hear his heart hammering like he'd been running for miles. "I'm sorry," he whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry I couldn't be there. Sorry for every birthday and every school play and every moment you needed a father, and I wasn't allowed to be one." "I know," Emma said, surprising herself. "I know." They stood there in the park, father and daughter meeting for the first time in 15 years, both crying, both terrified, both hoping this fragile new beginning wouldn't shatter under the weight of all those lost years. Behind them, 5 members of Iron Brotherhood MC stood watch, making sure their president's daughter, their president's secret, precious, finally acknowledged daughter, stayed safe while she reclaimed the father who'd loved her from the shadows her entire life. And somewhere, the universe decided that maybe, just maybe, this broken family deserved a chance to heal. Even if healing looked nothing like normal. Even if it came with armed guards and background checks and a father who was legally dead but spiritually more alive than he'd been in 15 years. Even if love was complicated and messy and built on a foundation of necessary lies. Because sometimes the truth is that the people who love you most are the ones willing to become ghosts so you can live in the light. And sometimes coming back to the dead is the bravest thing a father can do. Emma pulled back from the hug, wiping her eyes with her sleeve. "So what happens now? Do I get a leather vest and a road name?" Marcus actually laughed, a real, genuine laugh that transformed his whole face. "Jesus, no. You're staying as far away from club life as possible. That seems unfair. You get to be a badass biker president, and I have to stay boring normal Emma? Boring normal Emma is the goal. That's what I've been working toward for 15 years. Emma rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. "Can I at least see your bike?" Marcus hesitated. That's actually complicated." "Why?" "Because my bike is parked 3 blocks away with my road captain standing guard. And if I bring you anywhere near the Brotherhood right now, it opens doors I kept carefully locked for your entire life. You mean your club doesn't know about me? My inner circle knows. 5 men who've helped me protect you. But the full club, 47 members, their families, their connections, no. They think I'm a widower who lost his wife in the same accident that almost killed me. They don't know I have a daughter. Emma processed this, so I'm still a secret. For now, until I know it's safe to bring you into that world." Marcus ran his hand through his hair. "The Brotherhood is good people, Emma, but they're also connected to things you shouldn't be connected to. Once you're known, once you're visible, you can't go back to invisible. Maybe I don't want to be invisible anymore. I know, but invisible kept you alive. They started walking again, circling back toward the parking lot where Marcus's truck, not his bike, Emma noted, was parked. When can I meet them? Emma asked. Your inner circle. The men who've been helping protect me. When do I get to meet them? Marcus stopped walking. You want to meet them? They've been watching over me for 15 years. Seems like I should at least know their faces. Something shifted in Marcus's expression. Pride mixed with fear mixed with hope. Okay, if that's what you want. But slowly, one at a time, and only when your mother agrees. Mom's gonna say yes. How do you know? Because she's tired of secrets too. I could see it on her face. She wants this, us, to be real as much as we do. Marcus smiled. You're observant. Like me? Mom says I have your eyes. You have more than my eyes. You have my stubborn streak and my tendency to ask uncomfortable questions and my complete inability to back down when I believe I'm right. Sounds like a nightmare. You have no idea. I've been difficult my whole life. Ask anyone in the Brotherhood. They reached the truck. Marcus unlocked it, but didn't get in yet. Emma, I need to know you understand something. What? This life I lead is not safe. It's not normal. There's still people who'd hurt you if they knew you existed. And bringing you into my world, even slowly, increases those risks. I know. Do you? Because it's one thing to understand it intellectually. It's another to live it, to have security following you, to have your phone monitored, to have every friend and boyfriend background checked, to always be looking over your shoulder. Emma met his eyes. You've been doing that for me my whole life, watching over my shoulder. Maybe it's time I learned to watch my own. Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, but we do this my way. Carefully, with rules. What kind of rules? You don't go anywhere alone. You tell me, or your mother, where you are at all times. You don't tell anyone, not friends, not teachers, nobody, about me until I say it's safe. You learn basic security protocols. And if I say something's too dangerous, you trust me. That's a lot of rules. That's the price of having a father who's a motorcycle club president. Take it or leave it. Emma considered. Can I negotiate? Depends on what you're negotiating. I follow your rules. But you have to actually be my father, not just my secret bodyguard. You have to show up carefully, quietly, but show up. School events if it's safe. Dinner sometimes. Normal dad stuff. Marcus's throat worked. Deal. And you teach me to ride. Absolutely not. Dad. No. Non-negotiable. You're not getting on a motorcycle until you're 18, have your license, and can handle a bike without me having a heart attack. You're being overprotective. I'm being a father. Get used to it. Emma climbed into the truck, grinning despite herself. Marcus got on the driver's side, started the engine, and they sat there for a moment in comfortable silence. Where are we going? Emma asked. Home. Your mother's making dinner, and she'll kill me if I don't bring you back by 6. She's making dinner? Like actual cooking? She wanted tonight to feel normal, or as normal as possible given the circumstances. They pulled out of the parking lot. Emma noticed a motorcycle following at a distance, one of Marcus's security team. Will they always follow me now? She asked. Until I'm sure you're safe. Yes. That's going to take some getting used to. You'll adapt. You're tougher than you think. They drove in silence for a while. Then Emma said quietly, I looked you up after I found the photo, before I confronted you. Marcus tensed. What did you find? Not much. Marcus Kane, president of Iron Brotherhood MC. A few arrest records, all dismissed. Some news articles about the club doing charity work. Toy drives, veteran support. One article about you personally, from 3 years ago, about donating to a children's hospital. We do what we can. The article said you donated anonymously, but they tracked it back to you. Said you refused to comment, but the hospital administrator said you've been donating for years. Since about 12 years ago. Marcus's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That was when I turned 3, Emma continued. When I got diagnosed with that respiratory thing. and spent a week in the hospital. Mom said we couldn't afford the bills, and then mysteriously they got paid. Emma, it was you. You paid them. You've been paying for things my whole life, haven't you? Marcus didn't answer. The new car Mom got when our old one died. The scholarship that covered half my private school tuition. The inheritance from a grandmother I never met. That was all you. Your mother needed help. I couldn't be there, but I could make sure you both had what you needed. She doesn't know, does she? About all of it. She knows about some. Not all. I've been careful to make things look like luck or coincidence. That's, Emma struggled for words. That's really sweet and also kind of manipulative. I never claimed to be perfect. I claimed to love you. Sometimes love looks like secret hospital bills and forged inheritance papers. Emma shook her head, but she was smiling. You're impossible, and you're stuck with me. They pulled up to the house, the small two-bedroom where Emma had lived her entire life. It looked different now, knowing her father had been watching from the shadows, protecting from a distance, making sure she was safe even when she didn't know he existed. Jennifer met them at the door, her face anxious. How did it go? Good, Emma said. Weird, but good. She asked 83 questions, Marcus added, and negotiated visitation rights. I did not negotiate visitation rights. I negotiated him being an actual present father instead of a ghost. Same thing. Jennifer looked between them, and something in her face relaxed. You two are already bickering like you've known each other for years. She's stubborn, Marcus said. She gets it from you, Jennifer replied. I'm right here, Emma protested, and I can hear you talking about me. They went inside. Jennifer had made lasagna, Emma's favorite, and garlic bread and salad. The table was set for 3, which felt momentous. They'd never sat together like this. Never pretended to be a normal family. Marcus hung back, clearly uncertain about his place in this domestic scene. Sit down, Jennifer said gently. You're allowed to eat dinner with your family. Is it safe? Marcus asked. Anyone watching the house? Your team swept it this morning. We're clear. Marcus nodded and sat. Emma noticed how he positioned himself facing the door, how his eyes tracked every shadow passing by the windows. Even here, even with his family, he was on guard. They ate in slightly awkward silence at first. Then Emma asked, How did you two actually meet? The real story, not the version Mom told people. Jennifer and Marcus exchanged a look. I brought a brother who'd been shot to her apartment, Marcus said. 2 a.m. He was bleeding out. I was panicking. You weren't panicking, Jennifer corrected. You were controlled, focused. You gave me clear information, helped me stabilize him, never got in my way. I was panicking on the inside. And I was terrified, Jennifer admitted. But also, I don't know. There was something about you. The way you protected your brother. The way you looked at me like I was performing a miracle when I was just doing my job. You saved his life. You trusted me to save his life. That meant something. Emma listened to them trade the story back and forth, finishing each other's sentences, smiling at shared memories. They might not be together in the traditional sense, but the love between them was undeniable. When did you know you loved him? Emma asked her mother. Jennifer thought about it. 2 weeks later, he came back to check on his brother. Brought flowers. Terrible gas station flowers that were already dying. And he was so nervous. This big, tough biker, nervous about giving me cheap flowers. I knew right then. And you? Emma looked at Marcus. When did you know? That first night, watching her work, seeing her calm under pressure. And then, he paused, she asked me to leave before she called 911 to protect me from the police investigation. She barely knew me, and she was already protecting me. I was done for. That's actually romantic, Emma said, in a weird criminal way. Our whole relationship has been weird, Jennifer said, but it's been ours. They finished dinner. Marcus insisted on doing dishes despite Jennifer's protests. Emma watched them move around the kitchen together, Practice, comfortable, like they'd been doing this for years instead of meeting in secret. Her phone buzzed. Text from her best friend Ashley. Where have you been all day? Mason asked about you. Emma stared at the text, suddenly aware of how much of her life was about to change. She couldn't tell Ashley the truth. Couldn't tell anyone. What is it? Marcus asked, noticing her expression. Nothing. Just... Emma held up her phone. My friend asking where I've been. And I can't tell her. I know it's hard, Marcus said. Keeping secrets from people you care about. How do you do it? Lie with all these secrets? Practice. And remembering why the secrets matter. He dried his hands and came to stand beside her. But Emma, some secrets have expiration dates. This one does. Eventually, when it's safe, you'll be able to tell people. Tell your friends. Live openly. It won't be like this forever. When? I don't know, but I promise I'm working toward that. Toward a life where you don't have to hide who your father is. Emma nodded, texting Ashley back something vague about running errands with her mom. I should go, Marcus said, looking at Jennifer, before it gets too late and neighbors notice a strange truck in the driveway. Okay, Jennifer said softly. Marcus turned to Emma. Can I see you again? Soon. Next Saturday. Same time, same park. I'll be there. He hesitated, then pulled out his wallet and handed her a card. This is my private number. Only a few people have it. You can call or text anytime, day or night, even if it's just to talk, even if you're angry, even if you just want to hear my voice. I'll always answer. Emma took the card. Always, always, you're my daughter. Everything else comes second. He hugged her again, brief but tight. Then he hugged Jennifer, lingering longer, whispering something Emma couldn't hear. Jennifer nodded, tears in her eyes. Then he was gone, slipping out the front door and into his truck, disappearing down the street like he'd never been there at all. Emma stood at the window, watching his tail lights fade. You okay? Jennifer asked. I have a father, Emma said wonderingly. A real, actual father who's alive and wants to know me. Yes, you do. It's insane. Completely insane. But also, Emma turned to her mother. Also kind of amazing. Jennifer smiled through tears. Yeah, it really is. That night, Emma lay in bed staring at the card Marcus had given her. Just a phone number, no name. She saved in her contacts as Dad and stared at the word for a long time. Then she texted, Thank you for today, for answering my questions, for being honest, for showing up. The response came immediately. Thank you for giving me a chance. Sweet dreams, baby girl. I'll be watching over you. Dad. Emma smiled and set her phone down. For the first time in 15 years, she fell asleep knowing her father was out there. Not gone, not dead, not absent, just careful, just protective, just loving her from the shadows, the only way he knew how. And somehow that was enough. The next Saturday came faster than Emma expected. She stood in the park at 1:55, nervous energy making her bounce on her toes. This time she knew what to expect. This time her father wasn't a ghost, but a man with a voice and a history, and a desperate need to make up for lost time. Marcus appeared at 1:50, 10 minutes early again. But this time he wasn't alone. A man walked beside him, mid-40s, lean and weathered, with long hair pulled back and kind eyes that scanned the park like he was assessing threats. Emma, Marcus said as they approached. This is Axel, my road captain and second in command. One of the 5 who've been helping protect you. Axel extended his hand. Emma shook it, noting the calluses, the strength, the way his grip was firm but careful. It's good to finally meet you properly, Axel said. His voice was rough but warm. I've been watching you grow up from a distance. You're just like your old man, stubborn and smart and braver than you probably realize. You've been watching me? Security rotation. Me and 4 others. We made sure you got to school safe, that nobody suspicious ever got close, that when your mom's car broke down on the highway last year, someone happened to stop and help. That was you? The tow truck driver. Axel grinned. That was me, though I usually ride a bike, not a tow truck. Emma looked at her father. How many other coincidences in my life were actually you too? Lots, Marcus admitted. The substitute teacher who stopped that kid from bullying you in 5th grade? Axel's sister. The security guard who found your lost backpack with your laptop inside? One of ours. The cop who let your mom off with a warning instead of a speeding ticket when she was rushing to your school play? We might have made a call. You've been manipulating my entire life. We've been protecting it, Axel corrected gently. There's a difference. Emma didn't know whether to be angry or touched. She settled on both. Who are the other 3? She asked. The other members of the secret protection detail. Diesel, our sergeant-at-arms. Marcus said, Wraith, our treasurer. And Havoc, head of security. You'll meet them eventually, when you're ready. Why not today? Because I don't want to overwhelm you. One new person at a time. They walked together, the 3 of them, Axel falling back slightly to give them space, but staying close enough to intervene if needed. Tell me about the club, Emma said. The real version, not the sanitized one. Marcus and Axel exchanged looks. The Iron Brotherhood was founded 40 years ago. Marcus started as a group of veterans who couldn't adjust to civilian life. Men who needed the structure and brotherhood they'd had in the military. Over the years it grew. Some members joined for the right reasons, some for the wrong ones. When I became president, Marcus continued, the club was at a crossroads. We could go legitimate or we could go criminal. I chose legitimate. Some brothers left, Axel added. Didn't like the new direction. Wanted to keep running drugs, doing enforcement work for criminal organizations. We let them go. The ones who stayed were clean now. Mostly, we operate in gray areas, Marcus admitted. Security work that sometimes involves situations the police can't handle. Protection details for people who can't go to the authorities. Recovery of stolen property through unofficial channels. Nothing that hurts innocents, but not exactly legal either. And the other clubs? The rivals. We have treaties with most, Axel said. Territories are respected. Conflict are handled through negotiation, not violence. But there are still groups out there who don't play by rules, who'd hurt you to hurt your father. The Scorpions you mentioned. Disbanded, Marcus confirmed, but their remnants scattered to other clubs. Some of those men remember the war we had. Remember that I was supposed to have a family. If they connect you to me now. They'd use me, Emma finished. Yes. They sat on a bench overlooking the lake. Emma processed this. Try to reconcile her normal suburban life with this other world her father inhabited, a world of violence and loyalty and codes she didn't understand. I want to understand, she said finally, your world, the brotherhood, what it means to be your daughter in that context. Marcus looked at her. It means you're protected. Always. It means 47 men would die before they let anything happen to you. It means you have a family you didn't know existed. But it also means danger. Yes. And secrets. For now. And I can never be fully normal again. Marcus's face fell. If you want normal, Emma, I'll give you normal. I'll disappear again. Let you live without complications. I didn't say I wanted that. Emma met his eyes. I said I can never be fully normal again. That's not the same as not wanting this. Not wanting you. Relief flooded Marcus's features. But I need you to be honest with me, Emma continued. About everything. The danger. The club. What being your daughter really means. No more protection through ignorance. Okay, Marcus agreed. Honest. About everything. Starting now. What's the worst thing you've ever done? The question hung in the air. Axel shifted uncomfortably. Marcus sat very still. You don't have to, Axel started. No, Marcus interrupted. She asked for honesty. He looked at Emma. The worst thing I've ever done was let you grow up without a father. Was make your mother lie to you for 15 years. Was prioritize your safety over your happiness and convince myself it was the right choice. That's not what I meant. I know what you meant. You want to know if I've killed people, if I've done terrible things. And the answer is yes. In the Marines, definitely. With the Brotherhood, I've hurt people who threatened my family, threatened innocence. I'm not proud of it, but I'd do it again if it meant keeping you safe. Emma absorbed this. Okay. You were honest. That's what I asked for. She looked at Axel. What about you? Axel blinked. Me? You've been protecting me for 15 years. You're part of this. What's your story? Axel glanced at Marcus, who nodded permission. I'm a mechanic, Axel said. Learned it in the army. Got out, couldn't find work. Ended up homeless. Your father found me sleeping behind a motorcycle shop. Gave me a job. Gave me purpose. I've been with the Brotherhood for 12 years. Your father saved my life. So when he asked me to help protect his daughter, I didn't hesitate. You have a family? A sister. She's the teacher I mentioned. She doesn't know about the club. Thinks I'm just a mechanic. Everyone has secrets, Emma said quietly. Everyone we know, Axel agreed. They stayed at the park for 2 hours, talking. Marcus told stories about the Brotherhood. The good parts, the Brotherhood and loyalty, and men who become family. Axel added details, made Marcus laugh, showed Emma that her father was a real person with friends and a life beyond just being her secret protector. When it was time to leave, Marcus pulled Emma aside. Next Saturday, he said, if you want, I'd like to introduce you to Diesel, get you familiar with the inner circle. Eventually, if you're comfortable, I want to tell the full club about you. When I know it's safe, when I prepared them, when I'm sure nobody will talk. Okay. Emma hugged him. It was getting easier. These hugs. Less awkward. More natural. I'm proud of you, Marcus said, for being brave enough to give me a chance. For asking hard questions. For trying to understand. I'm trying to understand you, Emma corrected. Not sure I'm there yet. That's fair. I'm still trying to understand me, too. She laughed and pulled away. Text me this week? Every day if you want. Every day might be excessive. I have 15 years of conversations to make up for. Every day is conservative. Emma rolled her eyes, but she was smiling. She waved at Axel, who nodded back, then headed to where her mom was waiting in the car, watching from a careful distance. How was it? Jennifer asked as Emma climbed in. Good. I met Axel, Dad's second in command. Jennifer smiled at the word Dad, coming so naturally now. Axel's good people. He said he helped protect me, that there's 5 of them total in Dad's inner circle. They've been wonderful, loyal and careful and protective. Emma looked at her mother. Did you ever wish things were different? That Dad could have been present? Every single day, Jennifer said quietly. But I also wish you'd stay alive more than I wish for normal. So I made peace with what we had. Do you think we'll ever be actually normal? Like a real family? I think we're as real as any family. We just look different than most. They drove home in comfortable silence. Emma's phone buzzed with a text from her father. Thank you for today, for meeting Axel, for trying to understand this complicated life. You're more than I deserve. Dad. Emma smiled and texted back. You're more complicated than I expected, but also better. Same time next week? Emma. The response came immediately. Counting the minutes already. Sweet dreams, baby girl. Dad. Jennifer glanced over. Texting your father? Yeah. Is that weird? No. It's perfect. And somehow, despite everything, despite the secrets and the danger and the impossible complexity of the situation, it really was perfect. Not normal, but perfect in its own broken, complicated, fiercely loving way. Emma fell asleep that night feeling safer than she'd felt in 15 years. Because somewhere out there, in the shadows she couldn't see, her father and his Brotherhood were watching, protecting, making sure that the daughter who'd been a secret for so long could finally, carefully, step into the light. And that was worth every complicated moment, worth every hard conversation, worth every sacrifice they'd all made to get here. Because family wasn't about being normal. It was about showing up, even when showing up meant returning from the dead. The end. Want more real stories of courage and healing? Subscribe to The Healing Narrative. Smash that like button and comment "I care" if you'd stand up for a child. Bell,